Hello, my name is Lloyd Campbell. I'm the district governor-elect for District 5950. And our first thing I want to say is thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about one of the things that I am so excited about, and that's Rotary Action Plan, and in particular, the idea of impact. You see, for me, impact a few years ago only amounted to three things. One is, what are you trying to impact? Two, what are you doing to impact it? And three, how did you measure it? You know, that whole concept was put to a test a few years ago for me and my family. You see, a few years ago, I was the district membership chair for our district, and I felt like it was extremely important that I get all my family members into Rotary. Oh, it was really put to the test then. Because you see, I decided to go for the low hanging fruit. My son, who had the opportunity to be with me on several Rotary adventures, he's been to the golf courses, he's been to the fine restaurants. And one afternoon I said, son, have you ever thought about joining Rotary? The interesting thing there that we were at the dinner table and my wife sort of looked at me strange. And have you seen those NPR stories where the lion is about to attack the gazelle and the gazelle has no idea what's going on? That's the look she gave me. My younger son just got up from the table and left. My wife walked behind me, put her hands on my shoulder and said, "You got this." And I said, okay, this is going to be interesting. And he said, Dad, why would I want to join your organization, join Rotary? Do you want me to be a part of a club where there's a bunch of old men just sitting around eating dinner, eating lunch? I want something more than that. And I said, huh? What do you mean? He said, I walk through our community and all I see is the Rotary sign. We have a big billboard. We have a placard on a dock. We have a little house that says Rotary. But the question I want to ask you, Dad, is what kind of impact are you having on our community? And before I could say a word, my son looked at me and said, Dad, did you know that we live in one of the poorest areas in the state of Minnesota? And that food insecurity is a major issue here. What is Rotary doing to have an impact on that issue? And at the time he said that, two things happened. First, I thought about that NPR story when that lion is about to attack the gazelle, because I was not prepared for that. But I also thought about the time in the 80s when in the Philippines, one Rotary Club looked up and said, let's stop this. No more polio. Let's dream. Let's imagine what Rotary can be without polio. I'm sure there were people around saying, oh, that can't be done. But there were people who had the courage to dream and to imagine what their country could be without Rotary. And that changed the direction of Rotary. So I sort of sat down and I realized at that time it was time for me to be quiet. And I knew that when I thought I was the teacher, I became the student. My son simply looked at me and said, Dad, did you ever ask? Did Rotary ever ask what was important to our community? Did we actually plan to do something about it? Did you imagine what our community, our area of the state could look like when food insecurity didn't exist? I took a deep breath and said, you're the type of Rotarian we need in our clubs, and I will make sure that this happens. Now, to make a long story short, eventually all the members of my family became Rotarians. They took a different approach as far as the way they talk to me now. They're working from inside to make sure that we have an impact on the things we do. And those three things that I talked about at the beginning of this short video is has expanded. The first thing we need to do is to make sure we ask, we make assessment, we make sure that what we're trying to do is important to the community that we're doing it in. That we do some type of assessment, how important that is, and that we build something around it that's going to affect that, that's going to have a positive change. And the most important thing for us is to dream, to imagine, to imagine what the world would be like, what the community would be like if we solved that problem. So I want to thank you again for giving me this opportunity to talk about impact. It's so important that we imagine what Rotary, what our communities, what our clubs can be like, other than putting a placard on a small building or on a dock. We can imagine Rotary to be something totally different and something that the world can look at and say, I'm proud to be a Rotarian. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Dayle Quigley from District 5960. Expanding our reach is Rotary International's second priority. I like to think of this as stretching out our arms and embracing the world around us. Rotary International did a survey of 15 countries, and Rotary was one of the top 3 most recognized service organizations. However, only 35% saw Rotary as an organization for people like themselves, and only 25% knew someone who was a Rotarian. Rotary is an organization made up of people who not only believe in doing good in the world, but then act to facilitate the change. To increase the good we are doing, we need to expand our reach. We need to partner with new organizations, invite in new members with different views, and welcome the change and growth. We need to change from being an isolated island to a world without boundaries. What does that mean in actuality? It means throw out the old paradigms. My last car had several bumper stickers: coexist, tolerance, hire local musicians, and Rotary International. More than once, people said, "You don't look like a Rotarian." I didn't realize that Rotarians had a look, but that opinion does exist out in our communities. We are definitely more diverse than we were 20 years ago, but we have a long way to go to look like the communities we represent. When it comes to meetings, gone are the days where every club met once a week over a meal. Now clubs meet for service projects, meet at different businesses, never meet in person, but always over Zoom. Forget having to belong to a single stationary club. You can instead join a passport club, an e-club, a service project club. Have a real passion for a certain issue, then hook up with a cause club, such as cultural exchange, human trafficking, veterans. It's time to think outside the box. There are so many people out there that are Rotarians in their hearts and in their actions. They just haven't been asked to join. Rotary has never been needed more in the world, and never have we been so well suited to take a leadership role. It's time to open our arms, reach out to the world around us, and embrace it all. The Rotary theme for next year is Imagine, or as I like to say, dream and dream big. The only obstacles to expanding our reach at this time are the ones we've built in our own minds. The old Rotary rules are gone. Go get them. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and presidents-elect. A couple months ago, I had a conversation about Rotary with my 90-year-old mom. She asked me a question that resulted in a wonderful epiphany moment for me. I'll never forget it. But we'll get back to that in just a few minutes. Right now, as we continue with the priorities of our action plan, it is critically important to look at the third priority, enhancing participant engagement. We know it's something we all want to get better at. When we engage our members in ways that are meaningful for them, in ways they've told us they want to engage, we'll keep them in our clubs for a much longer time. The goal is to keep our Rotary experiences exciting, fulfilling, and meaningful, not just for today, but for a long time. When our members don't find experiences that excite them personally and professionally, they go elsewhere to find that. So in this time of so many changes, how do we keep our clubs relevant for our members? How do we give them reasons to stay? As we evaluate what our clubs offer, I like to use the SKS system. Stop, keep, start. SKS. It's a system I learned from my friend Bill Withers. It's taking a hard look at our club programs and activities and deciding, number one, what should we stop doing? Number two, what should we start doing? And number three, what should we keep doing? It may mean creating new programs, new events, or new ways of doing our events, and new learning opportunities that will not only bring new life to our clubs, but new life to our members as well. And that's what will attract new people of action to our clubs. So as you think about SKS, invite both your club members and the public at large, those who've attended your events, those who've been impacted by your projects. Bring them together to share their thoughts and new ideas about their Rotary experiences. Ask your members, both new and old, what's most important to them in a club, and then give them responsibilities to make it a reality. Every one of us has the need to belong. We're born with it. You, as club presidents, are now also the directors of belonging for your club. How do you help your members feel like they belong? Well, one easy way is to tell them how much you appreciate them. Say it out loud. Say it individually, in a group. Say it in private, especially in public. The dangerous thing is to assume they're feeling it. We all want to hear how much we're appreciated for what we do and for who we are. If we feel like we belong, why would we want to leave? Remember that every encounter with another person is an opportunity to show what Rotary can do. Every time we have an event for the public, a project in the community, it's so much more than just raising money. It's so much more than just building a building. It's showcasing what the funds will accomplish, who the project will serve, and how it will improve the quality of life in our communities. We're helping folks imagine what can be. Enhancing engagement of our members happens in different ways in our clubs. In our district, it's important for our Waterloo Club to have fun at their meetings. They have a gentleman who comes up with a song, a ditty, about what's happening at the meeting that day or about an upcoming project. It's great. The song even rhymes. When I visited their club to present a grant check, it inspired me to join in. And I sang a little ditty when I presented the check. The members loved it. And those members don't want to miss the fun. It's important for our Forest City Club to be doing a district grant project every year. They apply every year. They've got it down pat. They love making their community a better place to live. It's important for our Rockwell City Club to showcase themselves to the community. They put up a billboard at the entrance to their town that announces to all visitors Rotary is a key player in their community. Our Waverly Club, it's important for them to have a bright, welcoming club environment with great food. By moving to a new venue with brighter lighting, better food, and upgraded technology, attendance at their meetings has increased. And our Mason City Sunrise Club, it's important for them to be strong supporters of the Rotary Foundation. They've worked hard to become a banner Paul Harris Fellow Club. 100% of their club members are now Paul Harris Fellows. So engagement happens in all kinds of ways in our clubs. And speaking of the Rotary Foundation, I've always felt that a great way to engage our members and keep them engaged is to ask them to individually support the Rotary Foundation, in addition to any fundraising events for the foundation. When I visited clubs as the district foundation chair, I found that those clubs who had strong and ongoing support of the foundation also retained their members. Giving to the foundation creates engaged members and invested members. That leads me to this. Enhancing participant engagement means connecting, inviting people to join our mission, not to only join for good fellowship. Our mission, to be people of action that create lasting change here, around the world, and in ourselves. It's about being part of something bigger than ourselves, bigger than our clubs, even bigger than our country. It's about the theme we'll be working under this year. Imagine Rotary. Imagine what can be. And that takes me back to the beginning, to the conversation with my 90-year-old mom. Through the last 30 years, she knew I was involved in Rotary. She knew that I enjoyed it. But she asked me in that conversation 2 months ago, you know, all these years I've always wondered but never asked you, what does Rotary do? What a great question. It struck me that I had never shared with her what Rotary does. So I told her, Rotary is about eradicating polio, all the good work the Rotary Foundation does, saving mothers and children, providing clean and safe water, enhancing the environment, training people to be peace fellows, improving our local communities, how it makes me a better person. Oh my goodness, she said. That's impressive. That was my epiphany moment. I realized I need to share that answer, share that message with a lot more people than I do. If my 90-year-old mom can get excited about Rotary, anybody can. What does Rotary do? Asking that question of ourselves and our fellow members and potential new members is a great way to keep us all engaged in the life-changing mission of Rotary. So let's start asking. Thank you so very much.
My name is Steve Wieneke, and I'm going to be introducing the fourth priority to increase our ability to adapt. Over the last 2 years, globally, we have experienced unprecedented change and challenges just to survive the COVID pandemic. Strong leadership comes from the inspiration and encouragement of others. Today, change is all around us. Leadership and inspiration must come from all members, from all ages, backgrounds, genders, and abilities. Open minds and endless opportunities are the path forward for Rotary. Inspire and give courage to your members. As we look to the future, how do you chart a course in the midst of uncertainty that appears to challenge us yet today? One of the lessons learned from the pandemic is how small our world is. Rotary has become an incredible, relevant vehicle for creating renewed local connections and facilitating global connectivity with people all across the world. These are some of my thoughts on how your Rotary Club may go about increasing their ability to adapt. Your club may hold innovative forums, retreats, and brainstorming sessions. Consider inviting club members and community stakeholders to gather ideas for activities and service projects that may be found to be beneficial to people in your community. Collaborate with civic service organizations and groups that have a strong record of innovation and reinvention, and look for ways to apply what they have learned to your club. Your club may utilize virtual connectivity to optimize in-person meetings, educational sessions, fundraising, and service projects. Reach out to assist members that may not have access to a computer or internet connectivity, so they're not left behind. Set aside a small fund and empower newly inducted members to work together as a team on a new community service project. Give them 6 months to complete the project and watch how they shine. Don't be afraid to try new ideas and approaches, expand initiatives that succeed, and document what you learned from those that did not go so well. Be willing to accept risk and chart a new course. Embrace the adoption of new club types formats, and models. A few examples of club types are satellite clubs and Rotaract clubs. Meeting formats may also include meeting in person, online, or hybrid. Club models could include corporate, whose members work for the same employer, cause-based, whose members are passionate about a specific cause or focus for their service efforts, and the interest-based that are focused on a particular type of interest or hobby you may have. Adopting new models and approaches are vital to growing Rotary. It has been said that if your group is not increasing membership, it is at risk of decline. What will your Rotary Club and your community do to look at what it can do differently to grow your own membership and offer the opportunity to others to join our organization? Review your club roles, processes, and tasks. Look for ways for more efficient, whether it's by reducing, combining, or eliminating responsibilities or adopting different technology platforms. Review your service delivery and volunteer leadership structure to improve effectiveness, responsibilities, and accountability. Establish a continuity plan. Encourage current and past club leaders to work with incoming leaders chosen to serve the next few years. This will ensure their efforts will be cohesive and all will be invested in joint success. Let me pose a few questions to you to think about regarding your own Rotary Club. When was the last time your club conducted a member satisfaction survey? And did you share the findings with your members? When was the last time you hosted a club assembly to engage your members? Why did your members join Rotary? What keeps them engaged as an active member? What are they passionate about doing in their Rotary Club? And are you fulfilling their expectations? When was the last time your Rotary Club Board of Directors and committee chairs met to complete a club health check? This should include what you have done well, what needs to be improved upon, what priorities the club wants to focus on, what goals do they want to set, what steps do they need to take to implement these goals, what do you consider success to look like, and how will you go about measuring these goals? When and how did you share the results of this with your members? Have your Rotary clubs got the true meaning of Rotary? What do I mean by this? Let me explain. Do we fully engage your members and encourage them opportunities to serve others, which is one of our core functions? We need to constantly ask our members what they want out of their Rotary experience and provide them with meaningful responsibilities that challenge them, just like we would do if we were going to teach our children to be responsible. We must be welcoming, take interest in our members, and show them comfort and care. If we don't serve our members, we won't be serving our communities. Rotary provides the power of service to others, personal growth, leadership development, and lifelong friendships that create purpose and passion. These are our responsibilities. A personal example of how my Rotary Satellite Club changed and adapted recently was a result of a member satisfaction survey, a club assembly, and the vision of our current president. Prior to last year, our satellite group met every Tuesday night, and we did the following activities during the month. The first week, we conducted professional development learning from the RI Learning Center. The second week, a joint noon club and evening satellite group after hours social, inviting members and guests and prospective members. The third week, we conducted a community service project within our own local community. In the fourth week, we invited a guest speaker. Once a quarter, we conducted a club assembly and committee updates. This last year, we adopted a new sequence of events that the members asked for, and this is what we have been doing recently to increase our ability to adapt and to grow our membership. The first week, we conducted an on-site community service project that benefits a cause-based need within our local community of Ankeny, Iowa. The second week, we conducted a joint Rotary group after-hours social that we've been doing before. The third week, we conducted an off-site community service project somewhere in the greater Des Moines area. In the fourth week, we invited a guest speaker. We still conduct a quarterly club assembly and committee updates. So the moral of the story and the example I pose is that you need to ask your members what is important to them. Listen to them and don't be afraid to adapt and change. Let me conclude with a quote from Nolan Ryan. Enjoying success requires the ability to adapt. Only by being open to change will you have a true opportunity to get the most from your talent. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to share my thoughts with you today. I wish each of you the very best of luck in your year as club president. Go forth and do great things.